In this video we shall continue discussing how to modify data using triggers on views. As MySQL for now does not support triggers on views, all solutions here will be for Microsoft SQL Server and Oracle only. So in the first task we have to create a view on subscribers table. This view should present all the data in human-readable form. It asks with explicit subscribers' names and books titles instead of IDs. And also we should be able to modify subscribers table via operations with this view. This is our expected result. We see subscribers' names and books titles here instead of IDs. And we should be able to get that information by executing such a simple query. Yet this view should allow us to insert, delete and update data in the subscriptions table. As usual, we shall start with MySQL, and we remember that this DBMS does not support triggers on views, so that's all. We can only create the view and nothing more. But with Microsoft SQL Server, we may execute all required operations. First, we have to create the view, and that view is based on this query, and this query will produce us that data. Then we have to provide the possibility to perform all data modification operations, and we shall start with insert. Of course, we have to create instead of insert trigger. As subscribers' names or book titles are not unique, we have to allow only ID usage here in this part. We have to check if anything except digits presented in these fields, and if so, we have to roll back the whole operation. Then we have to allow identity fields insertion on our table, and then the insert operation starts. In case the subscription ID is not explicitly passed into the query, we have to calculate its value and use it as the value for that field. And for all other fields, we only have to take their values and put them into our table. And then we have to revert this setting to its original state. The instead of update trigger looks like this. For the same reason, here we have to prohibit usage of anything except digits in these two fields. And as it was described in the previous video, we have to prohibit the operation in case of the primary key update. But once these conditions are okay, we only have to perform the update operation itself. Here are some checks to make our query more reliable, but the main idea is that we take new values and put them into our table instead of old ones. The instead of delete trigger looks simple, but for real it's not. We have two problems here. The first one is that Microsoft SQL Server populates this virtual table before trigger activation, so we cannot handle string values for names or titles, and this problem has no solution at all. The second one is that we cannot search records based on IDs of subscribers or books, and we cannot use subscribers' names or books' titles for the record search because they are not unique. But this problem has some weird solution. Here it is. The idea behind this huge block of SQL code is to get the text of that query that activated our trigger. And if that query contains these names of these fields, we have to roll back the whole operation. Otherwise, we may perform the deletion, but only based on the identifier of the subscription itself. As you may easily guess, we follow the same approach for Oracle. First, we have to create this view, and this view is based on such a query, and that query produces the data. Then we have to create the instead of insert trigger. For the same reason as with Microsoft SQL Server, we cannot allow anything except digits in these two fields. But once everything is okay with this condition, then we only have to perform the insert operation itself. And as Oracle uses another approach to auto-incremented key values generation, we do not have to calculate anything manually here. To allow update operation, we have to create instead of update trigger. Here we also have to prohibit anything except digits in these two fields. And once everything is okay with this check, we may perform the update operation. Like with Microsoft SQL Server, we put some additional checks here to increase the reliability of our query, but the main idea is that we take new values and put them into this table instead of old ones. Like with MySQL Server, with Oracle the deletion operation has several problems. Those problems are the same. And while in Microsoft SQL Server this one had solution, for Oracle this problem has no solution at all. That's because there is no easy way in Oracle to get the text of that query that activated our trigger. But nevertheless, the deletion will work if it is based on the identifier of the subscription itself. In the second task, we have to create a view to select books titles along with books genres, while allowing to add new genres via operations with this view. This is the expected result. We see books titles here, books genres here, and we get this information by executing such a simple query. Yet this view should allow us to add new genres. For MySQL, the idea stays the same. This DBMS does not support triggers on views, so that's all. We can only create the view and nothing more here. With Microsoft SQL Server, we shall start with the view creation. The whole query here is needed to produce this data. And this block here is needed to transform several lines with genres for a single book into one line. Yet this block may be rewritten with such a function, so please rewrite this part yourself. And as we only have to add new genres, we only need instead of insert trigger. The whole trigger is that simple. Yes, we cannot pass genre ID because our initial view doesn't operate that ID, but we can still easily add new genres. That's because genres table has auto-incremented primary key, so the DBMS only needs genre name to add the information into that table. For Oracle the approach is the same. We shall start with view creation and this query is needed to produce that data. And as in many cases this double conversion of string data is not needed, it is recommended that you try yourself investigating this situation in your particular environment. And finally, the instead of insert trigger follows the same idea as in Microsoft SQL Server. Here we also cannot pass genre ID, but we still can add new genres easily. That's because in Oracle this table also has auto-incremented primary key, and Oracle only needs genre name to add that information into that table.